Get it right?
Yep,
All
that's right.
Hopefully you would have said
Is there an
something
H on Hannah?
Yes.
There's a one at the beginning, one at the end. All right.
Yep.
It's a palindrome, right?
It
There
is.
you go.
Okay. My girlfriend talks about all the time. She's a palindrome.
Oh, his girlfriend's name is Hannah.
There we go.
Oh, really?
Welcome to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. We're on the same side. I didn't fix the graphic. I should have fixed the graphic today. We are back with another episode of the Midday Show. We want to welcome Christian Diggs and Hannah Summerson. They are going to be opening Toast'd Bagels in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I hope I spelled toasted right. It's clever what you guys did, but every time I go to type it, I second guess myself.
Yeah.
So
Did I get it right?
Yeah,
It is spelled right. No E.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to talk about bagels. We're going to talk about coaching. We're going to talk maybe a little bit about Lyco, the Williamsport area, stuff like that. But before we get into that, if you haven't seen the show before, guys, we start the show with the same question every day. And it's not you guys are going to be underwhelmed, I promise you. Mark, how are you feeling today?
Well, because you get to sit next to me, I'm not feeling as good as you are. This is probably the favorite show you've ever done.
That I get
Because
to sit
usually,
next to you?
usually I'm way across the room, and now I'm here next to you.
I've said before, you are too loud for me, and now you're like 2 inches away from me, and this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Let's ask them. Christian, Hannah, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great.
Really well.
Okay. So we have Toast'd Bagels coming up. Before we'll get to like concept and where it all comes from, though. But you guys were saying before the show, 2 weeks away. Jittery? Are we nervous? Are we anxious? Are we excited? Tell us where you guys are at, what you've been up to lately with the Toast'd Bagels.
I think we are a little bit of everything. Excited, anxious, nervous. We just want to get open for the people, but it's definitely been a process. It's been flying, but we're super excited, and we're very grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. I think these last 2 weeks up until opening are just the craziest because we've done so much up until now, but it's everything has to be finalized now within these next 2 weeks. So we're doing a lot.
Okay, so here's the dumb question that everyone's asked you. It's 100. Why? Where was the seed from this idea? Where did it come from? Why'd you do this?
Yeah, that's definitely the hot question. So I had made an LLC for this idea a little bit over a year ago, and just kept getting cold feet. And then we finally found a spot that we liked. But what started us to do this was Hannah loves bagels. I like bagels. Hannah loves bagels. Yeah. And she never could find a place where she could get a good bagel. Her family's from New Jersey, the New York, New Jersey area. So she was spoiled with bagels growing
I
up.
thought she was from South Side.
Yeah.
That's where she's from.
Oh,
but her family is all New Jersey
Yeah.
people. She's a mountain.
They're trying to make her sound more exotic than she is. She's from 17702.
I love that Jersey is exotic.
Well, compared to South Williamsport, I mean, come on.
Du Bois town to be exact.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, but that's how it originated. And then we just kept going back and forth. Should we do it? Should we not? COVID this, COVID that. Should we do it? And then eventually we're at Franco's one night eating dinner, and we're like, let's just call the people on the sign. And literally, actually, it was New Year's Eve day. We called them at probably at 1, and we signed a lease by 5. So that was that.
Yeah,
but
that was the jumping off the dock moment.
Yeah, it was if
no
we're gonna
return.
do it, it's now or
We saw
never.
the place where you're this is the perfect place.
Yeah.
We got to do it.
So, but yeah, her family, I would say, and her love for bagels really got me thinking about.
It was a need.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like it here. So
I like how he set this up. So if it doesn't go well, he'll just blame her. I'll be like, why didn't you like something else?
So real quick, just so everyone knows, Christian, how old are you?
I'm 24.
And then Hannah, how old are you?
23.
Okay. Was it age? Do you feel like that was that part of the hesitancy, or do you think it was something deeper than that?
No, okay. I don't think age at all. It was just, I don't know. I hate to say it, but afraid to fail type of thing.
Sure. Yeah, but none of us have done that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
No one. So that was it. And then eventually it just came to the point, listen, if we're the kind of age I think helped us more, if anything. We're young. If we fail now, we have plenty of time to make up for it.
Sure.
So just go for it and see what happens.
Well, it's life is a learning process. So whatever success, failure, you'll grow from this for whatever. And running a business is, you'll learn more running a business in 4 months than you will in 4 years of college.
It's better than a degree.
It is.
Yeah.
You will learn so much. So one of the other things about Christian and Hannah that people may not know, I didn't know Hannah was a coach until right now, but Christian's the head football coach in Montgomery. Hannah's the head tennis coach. So they've already, even at a young age, I guess it's not totally rare for people so young to be in coaching, but to be the head coach and to be in charge. So they're already both used to dealing with responsibility. Christian, we were talking before we went on the air. Are you the youngest head football coach in Pennsylvania, or don't you know?
So according, I think Chris Massey tweeted that. I think it's like a 99%, like they were positive. But it's actually kind of funny because I was 23 when I got hired, and then I'm 24 now. But I think if you want to get technical, Hannah would be the youngest head coach now in PA because she's 23. But I think for football, I was, from what I've known and what everyone said, I was at the time, yes.
So how'd that go? Just give me you guys did all right. You didn't.
Yeah, I mean, we started off super strong. I mean, kind of a good thing and a bad thing at coaching in the small schools. I only had like 26 or 27 kids on my roster. So a great group of kids, but as it's football, guys get hurt, injuries and things like that. We started off phenomenal. We were 3-0. First time 3-0, I think, since like the late 90s, I think, was the last time. And then we had a rough streak. We actually lost 5 straight. A couple guys out, a couple seniors out. And then we ended up finishing the season 5-5. We lost to Muncie, I think, week 8 by like 20, 30 points. And then we actually played them week 1 of playoffs, and we lost by 1. We went for 2 to win the game with no time on the clock. So it was a great run, but definitely very fun.
Now, high school tennis is in the fall.
Yes, girls.
So did that help or did that make it worse? Because I would assume it helps because you're both busy.
Yeah.
Or does it make it more complicated because you are both so tied up in what you're doing?
No, I think, I mean, our practices were like basically at the same time. So I don't know. We're always busy people in general anyway. So I don't think it was kind of nice because we did see each other in passing up there. The practice field and the courts are like right next to each other.
How long did it take your student athletes to realize the Diggs Summerson connection?
I think they knew right away.
Well, here's the thing, man.
He was working in the school too, so he knew all my girls.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a case. And then, of course, like, I don't know how, like, it's funny. Like, social media is obviously so powerful. We have everything private. No one can see it. And somehow they still figure out your whole life. Like, high school kids will figure it out in like 15 minutes. So it didn't take long for word to get around.
They're like mini detectives when they have technology.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it worked out for Christian because since Hannah was busy, she couldn't keep telling him what he was doing wrong on the football field because she had her own stuff to worry about.
Exactly.
It probably helped. Christian and I go back a little bit. Christian played basketball when I first started coaching because I would have been probably 24, 25. I would have been probably the same age that you are now when you first came over to Loyalsock. One of the things that, and you and I have had some really good conversations, one of the things that I'm always fascinated by you is you always seem willing to just try things. Yeah. You seem to be low key, but yet you're everywhere. You're nowhere but everywhere. You're low key, but you're out in the public eye. And I've always been impressed by that. One of the things that you did over the pandemic, you were doing something online. Go ahead and just give us like the 30, 60-second rundown of this. I was because some of them, I mean, I would look sometimes and there'd be like 250, 300 people like watching it. So go ahead, just kind of let people know what you did while you were bored over the pandemic.
So what Coach Everett is referring to, essentially.
Way, no one calls him Coach Everett. No, it's just, so can we delete that? Can we delete that?
So what happened was essentially over in the very beginning of the pandemic, we were on Instagram, and actually it started with Tory Lanez. There's an artist named Tory Lanez, and he has like whatever, but he was doing these like talent shows, and I thought it was hilarious. Like he had like millions of people. Like he broke Instagram records and stuff. And one day we were just messing around. I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna go live and like I'm gonna have a talent show and like just see. I'm gonna give someone $100. And the first time we did it was like probably like maybe 40 people.
Right.
And then and we did it again. And then the second time we did it, it just like kind of like blew up. And we would have people like, I think I started the next one. I used like $200 or whatever, my own money. And we would just give it out to people. But then people would start donating, sending it into us. So by the third or fourth time, we probably had at one time over 300 people on the video at once. And then over like, I think like our highest was like 1,200 viewers through the whole time. But people were like Philly, everywhere. It was just kind of blew up. And we would just send out. I just wanted to give money back towards the during the pandemic. So that's how it was. And then she like thought I was kind of crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, no one's going to get on that.
So can I tell?
But then
So
it
can
got
I
really
tell
funny.
my variation? So we
Yeah.
were at the time. I had roommates,
Mhm.
and we were in this big house, and I think it was a Friday or Saturday night, and we, everyone's bored out of their mind. There's
Yeah.
nothing to do.
Nothing.
And so I'm sitting downstairs and I'm watching my projector, and they come running down the stairs and they're like, "Can we use the projector?" Which they almost never ask. And I was like, "Okay." So they hook it up, and sure enough, there's the talent, like Christian Diggs talent show on our big projector downstairs during the pandemic. And I was dying laughing because in my head I'm thinking like, only Diggs, like only Christian would have decided to do this and figured out a way to make it work. So yeah, that is one of the things that got me through the pandemic essentially.
Which I wish we would have stuck with it longer. No one thought the pandemic would last that long, obviously, or this long. But while we did it, it was super fun, and like we had a lot of talented people, like singers, dancers. I remember we were on there, like just some people were like comedians and stuff. So shout out to you guys. But
so
it was
people would
mad
just
fun.
call in and just say, "I want to sing."
Yeah, like
I
would
say
just
call in. That's how old I am. People would call in.
Yeah, so they would just, or if Jeff was looking at it, he would send it to so and so and be like, "Yo, she can sing. Can she hop on?" It wasn't like an entry fee or anything.
Right.
Literally, it was just like, do your thing. If you're on there for 10 seconds, cool. If you're on there for 10 minutes, cool. And then you can kind of get a gauge of like the comments, like boo, or like this guy's really good. So we kind of let the crowd control
people booed.
Yeah,
I can't believe that.
I mean, there were, as great as some people were, there were some people that earned their.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair way to put it.
I think we sent out probably like over $2,000 total between the whole thing. But of other people like sending money in and giving back.
Right.
So we didn't keep anything, of course, but
Yeah.
it was a good fun.
Hannah, what's so great about these bagels?
They are bigger
Okay.
and fluffier
Okay.
and just like
No
more,
holes.
Yeah.
Or very small holes.
Yeah, it's like they're not just like little like donut looking bagels.
Okay. And they're obviously still toasted because like otherwise the name wouldn't work.
Right.
Okay. But do they like maintain their fluffiness, for lack of a better word, after you toast them? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're actually, I guess if you want, we can say we're getting them from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place up there that actually has a shop in Jersey in Brooklyn,
Mhm.
but we're going to Jersey to pick them up, and they're going to be par baked. So they like boil them, do the dough.
So
boil
basically, the
because
best-
the water from there is what makes the bagels. That's what people say. So
That's
much
the claim to
greater.
frame.
So that's why we're definitely getting them from there. They have to be authentic.
Wait, the water?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
The
they said.
dirty water dogs? Is that? That's all I know. At New York City, the dirty
Yeah.
water.
Apparently it helps. So we're gonna
Huh.
get them par baked from there, then bring them here and finish baking them. So they're
Yeah.
gonna be fresh that way every day.
Yeah. So basically, they make them and we bake them, if that makes sense. So it comes in like a dough, and then we make them. So we bake them fresh every single morning.
Mm-hmm.
But we just want to bring the most authentic as possible
Yeah.
to the area.
And then I saw something about flavors, different kinds,
Mhm.
flavors. Hook
They
us
just
up.
have plain. Just plain.
Just plain.
We're gonna have, I mean, there's options for up to like 15 or 20, but we'll
Okay.
probably have at least like 10 different kinds every day.
10 to 12.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
different, probably, I think we have like 7 different cream cheeses too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Lots of
Hours.
variety.
Do you guys have hour set? This is always the tricky.
No, they have no.
Hour set is the trickiest part. It is because I've helped open stuff up like this before, and hours is a conversation that's worth having. Sometimes it's tricky to figure out.
It is. I agree with that. So basically 7 a.m. until 2:30 through the week, and then 8 to 1 on the weekends. And then Fridays and Saturdays, we're going to reopen late night. So
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask.
So for you partiers out there, whatever the case is, we'll be open from like 11 to 3 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays.
Mhm.
So, and we'll deliver as well.
That's going to work.
That will 100% work.
Because the location,
Oh.
I don't know if
You might
it's right downtown.
scrap the mornings after
Yeah.
like a couple of months. It might just be late night bagels by
Yeah.
next year.
Who knows?
No, I was gonna suggest that.
Sure.
You hadn't thought of it.
Yeah.
But you young people who actually still do go out, you probably thought of it too. Because there's a lot of, when I was young, it was Denny's.
Sure.
After,
Yeah.
at 2:00 in the morning, you went to Denny's because it was the only place to go.
Would you get
Mhm.
breakfast?
There's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's many people from my generation that have not been in Denny's before midnight on any day of their life.
Sure.
The only
Yeah.
time we ever went there was 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Now so we're also going to do lunch sandwiches though too. So you can come at 2 a.m. and if you want a breakfast sandwich, you can do that. Or if you want a turkey sandwich on a bagel, we'll do that as well. So
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be late. Now I think it'll be fun. She bartends already, so that'll probably be more of her baby. But she's used to those hours.
The late nights.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
that's awesome. Is there anything else? I don't want to say that you're worried about, because worried it's just such a negative word. But what are, going into this, I mean, are there things that you already talked about, hesitancy? Are there things that people wouldn't know about opening a bagel shop that you guys have been like, wow, I didn't realize this, or oh, I hadn't thought of that?
I think every day we see something like that.
Yeah.
There's so much to going into opening a business, and just paperwork and signatures and licenses, and it's once you get 10 steps ahead, you
doing it the right way.
Doing it the right way.
Doing it the right way. But go ahead.
Yeah, get everything approved.
Right.
That takes time. I wouldn't say we're hesitant, because now we're in it, right?
Sure.
So we're in it, and now it's just whatever happens. We're going to do what we have to do. But I would say we are learning a lot throughout this process. Just things you don't think about. You walk into a restaurant and someone bought those tables and chairs. That doesn't cross your mind. Someone bought the napkins for you to have. So obviously we know that, but small things like that add up mentally. And
Do you find yourselves, when you go out to eat now, do you find yourselves looking at? Okay.
Yeah.
all the time.
Just today we were somewhere and saw their window decal stickers, and I'm like, wow, they have a lot of those. That's kind of expensive.
Right. And otherwise you may have never even
Never
noticed
thought
it
of
or
it.
looked
Yeah.
at them or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it's
And the
funny.
process, so that's been fun. But
It's very interesting. And you're going to keep coaching,
oh yeah,
both of you?
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Awesome.
Because they've got cheap help.
Right. That's
Hey,
right.
you want to play, you need to come work.
Real quick, Lyco, tell us about I'm assuming you guys both enjoyed Lyco. You both enjoyed your time there.
Yeah.
Tennis. Talk about Lyco tennis, because I'm sure Lyco tennis doesn't get enough shine. I'm sure it doesn't get enough publicity.
Yeah.
How was your time there? Who's the coach at Lyco?
Leroy Bear is the
Okay.
head coach, and then Joel Reed is his assistant coach.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I decided to go there because it was kind of close to home, and I'm close with my family and everything.
And she couldn't get into Susquehanna.
I couldn't cut it anywhere else. So no, so I went there and played. I had a lot of fun. It was there was never too much pressure on me. I think maybe partly because it's D3. So I was able to focus on school, and I worked a bunch of part-time jobs too while I was in college. So I was able to play and have fun with it and not feel like it was had to be my life.
We've talked so much about how important fit is. So whether it's Division 3 or Division 2 or whatever school you choose to go to, a lot of times mixing that student athlete in college, it's really just fit and finding the right place.
I tell people, I played football at Susquehanna, and it was to us, it was everything, even though, but then when the PA announcer would come on and they would say scores from around the Big Ten, the whole sideline would go silent. And they'd be like, is Penn State winning? What's Michigan score? Did they say that? So we knew and we cared and we gave it all we had, but we also knew our place in the pecking order of the world. That, we had guys in the locker room telling people, because this is back in the early 90s, I'm recording the Florida State Miami game. So if anyone hears the score, don't tell me. So that was, so yeah, Division 3 sports is fun.
Yeah.
But we know where we belong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have to. She always gives her humble answer. So me being her biggest fan, right? She only got to play for 3.5 years because of COVID.
Okay.
But she actually holds every record for men and women's tennis at Lycoming. So I think that's
She was holding out on us.
That she was holding out. She never. She's gonna be mad at me that I said that, but I have to give her flowers for that.
So every record, most double faults, you have that.
Yeah. Double faults.
Most unforced errors, you have that one too.
Most balls hit over the
I'm
fence.
sure I do.
most broken rackets and profanity screams. That's great.
But no, she killed it. No, she did a great job, and she still could go play. I think you should finish out your last semester.
She could go do it. What is real quick tennis etiquette? Because we have a lot of like random sports conversations on the show. Okay, one of my I hate like golf etiquette. I hate tennis etiquette.
Yeah.
I hate anything where like you're not supposed to mess
Have
with
emotion.
the athlete.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like as somebody that clearly knows what they're doing, what is your opinion on tennis etiquette? Because I think like when someone
We should be able to
rises up,
heckle you
like
in mid-serve.
Yes, it
Mid-serve.
bothers me that you guys just get complete silence.
Because you can do it during a
Yeah.
foul shot or something.
Yeah,
No,
during
that's
a
what I
foul
mean.
shot.
Exactly.
I tell our kids when you're at the foul line, you hear more stuff about your mom and your girlfriend at the foul line than you will hear the
That's
rest
what I'm
of your life.
saying.
Yes.
I don't know why it's so like that. It's like so particular. Like even if you hit a winner on someone and like just like burn them, whatever, they can't touch it. You can
Mhm.
cheer for that. But if you hit a good shot to them and they hit it back and it goes in the net, you're not supposed to cheer for like your shot that you hit. Like there's so many like small
Weird
like
etiquettes,
etiquette.
right?
Yeah.
It's
And
really, really
we
bizarre.
see, especially in high school, like there's a lot of moms who will like want to cheer for their kid for doing certain things, but
Mhm.
then you'll have the coach of the other team or the other moms like I've had them come to me and be like, oh, that was like so rude that they would cheer like at that time. It's like moms, especially like new.
Yeah, because moms are never rude.
Yeah.
Not at youth sporting events. No,
Like they just
never.
don't know. So yeah,
I
it's
think
so
we're onto
interesting.
something because tennis is a struggling sport. Like back in the 70s, it was more popular, but it's
Sure.
so trash talking tennis.
Mm.
We could mic the guys
Mm.
or the women, and because the women are saying stuff too. Like so when they rip it into the net, you'd be like, "Nice shot, you bleepity
Well,
bleep," and that would really be awesome.
I just look at all these gym sports that we have, and like whether it's volleyball or basketball, or whatever else. Like when a volleyball person serves, you can do whatever you
do
want.
whatever you want.
Can literally, when the ball's in the air, I mean, you can distract them any way you want to. Maybe it's like frowned upon, but there's no like volleyball etiquette of like the crowd not cheering.
Right.
So I don't know. Golf, I have started to enjoy golf more than I did before. I used to monkey around with tennis, not as much as I used to, but it just drove me nuts that you're just supposed to just play in silence. I would hate that.
Yeah.
I would just absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine. Can you imagine like coaching football and just silence, like
I would
nothing happening?
No, I wouldn't be able to do it.
That was the weirdest part about last year, like coaching during the pandemic, is these empty gyms, and there's just nobody saying. It was very awkward.
You couldn't loudly swear at your players without everyone hearing it.
Who would do?
So you had
who would do
to
such a
to
thing?
muffle. You couldn't say, "Would someone get me a bleeping rebound?" Because everyone could hear it.
I want to say I can't believe Montorzo's playing this zone, and then everyone would.
They're so lazy. Try to guard someone.
Is it supposed to say Mike is muted on there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
comes
it's
and
fine,
goes.
because it's on the
Yeah.
it's the device is muted, but your mic is not,
Gotcha.
and then your mic goes through this
Rookie.
We're like
thing
about to
right
start
here.
over.
Yeah, that
No,
screwed
no.
me up too. He'll tell you when things go bad. He's the wizard behind the curtain. Over there.
So we talked about like the bagels aspect, like coaching aspect though, because last year was your first year as a head coach. Was it your first year, Hannah, or was it your second year? As a head coach? First year.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the things? Because we, again, lots of coaching discussion here, but we don't really talk about the sports per se. We really talk about more of like the emotional side, trying to be a better coach, like what matters, what doesn't matter, how hard it is to be a coach, how hard it is to be a parent, how hard it is to be an athlete. What are some of the things like first year head coaches? What were some of the things that you like reflect on and you were like, this was different or this was harder? Like what?
Or
were the
I
things that
screwed
surprised
up.
you? Yeah. Like what were the things that kind of surprised you like as first year head coaches?
Ooh, you want to answer that first?
I don't know. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I mean, I was just like really open to the idea and I love tennis. So I was just like going into it like totally open-minded, not knowing what to expect. I don't know what would be the most difficult.
Do you have? Let me ask you this: did either of you have issues? Because there's age discrimination in life, but we all make our general descriptions. Like I'm 50, so one of the challenges that I have in coaching, my basketball team,
Staying awake.
is still. Now, awake is not my issue. I don't sleep anymore.
My fault.
It's kind of relating to the kids and understanding that they grew up in a different world than I did. With technology and with iPhones and with all that stuff. Did you guys seem to have any issues because you were too young, and not just from not the kids? I don't think the kids would care, but the parents. Did the parents look at you guys and say, listen, these guys don't know what they're doing. They're just kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
At first, I remember my very first like parent meeting, and everyone just kind of looked at me like, who is this guy?
He's in charge?
Like,
This guy's in charge?
Like, and it's okay. I get it, right? Like, I was 23 at the time. Like, I'm not, I don't have any ties to Montgomery. I was like a brand new, fresh face, new name there. But yeah, and same with the kids. Like, I don't even know if they really knew my age from the beginning, but any kid will, you know how it is. Any kid will try to test the waters. But I think the biggest thing is just finding that line between being a friend and a coach, and discipline and things like that. So we had a very good line between all my coaches. I had a coach who was 22 and I had a coach who was 73 on my staff. So we had a nice fine line and we were all on the same page. That helped me the most. And then once kind of we got rolling and they saw how serious we were, the parents, I think, were bought in pretty quickly. But initially, yeah, it was pretty funny.
Well, I would say this. Number one, because you're taller, I think that would help.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding.
No, for sure.
It 100. That's a true. Can we talk about that for a second?
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Because as somebody who's like 5'9", that is completely true.
Yeah.
How people will first view you to coach a sport if you're 5'9" versus what are you, Dig? 6'3", 6'4"?
So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like if he walked in, if someone said, yeah, he's 30, you could buy it.
Yeah.
So, but I think one of the other things, Jeff and I talked about this too, is that you need to be a friend and a coach.
Yeah.
And if you,
Absolutely.
especially in this era, if you don't, the whole like military, post-Vietnam War coaches that I grew up with, it's like that doesn't work anymore.
No.
It really doesn't.
So, and you asked earlier, like, what was my biggest? I think I had a very fine line with that, but there was one game in particular where I kind of went back to a game that we, in my opinion, we easily should have won, but I took that military approach and I take full blame for losing that game because I think if I would have coached that differently and responded how I typically would have, the kids would have been much more mentally there. So I don't like that military style of coaching. I never liked playing for coaches like that, but definitely I think that you have to be a friend and a coach at the same time, just have a line. So
one of the things that I first, like when I first started, I remember as a player, everything was just a basketball decision. So I would just look at the coach and just be like, just make the basketball choice. And then immediately when I started coaching, I realized like, oh, these are not robots. Like these are people and they have bad days and they have everything. And so that was one of the first like eye-opening
You're a loyal side. You guys
experiences
don't
for
have
me.
bad days. You have good days.
Stop.
The rest of us have bad
Stop.
days.
Every team has bad days. Every athlete has bad days. But that was one of the first things for me was kind of realizing like, oh, like this kid might not have slept last night, or this kid, he might have a crush on this girl, and she completely ignored him that day. Like
it's always a woman at the end of it.
Yeah.
There's always a chick.
No, but it is one of those things that I remember when I first started, going through, and you were part of some of those groups, and like every kid is emotional. Like every kid has these different things. So I've always now, like, is tennis different, Hannah, just because like the individualism of it? Like, obviously there's still a team.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's easier to coach an individual sport, or do you think it's harder to coach an individual sport?
I think what would make it harder, I've never coached team sports, so I guess I can't really speak to it, but I think what would make it harder is the fact that they are like, they like to be coached in different ways. So I have to know what girl might like me to be a little harder on them versus what girl would crumble if I raise my voice in one little
That's really interesting because essentially what you're saying is you're not forcing them to conform to the group.
Yeah.
You have to conform to them, which is very different than I think what a lot of us experience.
Yeah, definitely. It was it was a learning experience that way, and that's something that I just had to learn as I go, and you really have to like build into each girl individually to know like what she responds to best. So,
well, I think one of the things that Christian brought up that parents just don't get, because so many parents go home and they're saying the coach should have done this, the coach should have done that, the coach screwed up, and they have no idea how many times we're on the bus going home going, we should have done this, we should have done that. I know we screwed up.
Yeah.
We wake up at 4:00 in the morning thinking, why didn't we call timeout? If I would have substituted this way better. So I think parents have this belief that the coach walks out and says, I did everything right.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done anything more. And it's totally the opposite.
Yeah, that
Most
can't
of
be
the
any
time,
further from the truth for sure.
It
And
really is.
I think I got a whole different perspective on that. Like even like watching, I don't really know a lot about basketball, right? But I'm like, why would they
Neither
do
does
that?
Jeff.
No, nothing.
Or football, why would they do that? But like there's always a 9 times out of 10, there's a reason behind what happened. And then if what you called went wrong, if what went wrong would have went right, you would be looked at as like the superhero. So that was a funny dynamic that I learned very quickly. But that just is part of coaching.
Part of it. Before you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, as I was making my joke, one of the things that Jeff hates about this job is every day I show up and I ask him like 6 basketball questions. And while he's trying to get work done, I was like, so what do you do this? And we do this and we do this. So
who is a better basketball player out of you two?
A player?
Yeah. Me, but I'm like a
coach. Him.
But I'm like a one trade. Like I don't even know if I can throw a football. I don't know. Like I'm a horrible bowler. Like I'm not a great golfer.
I can bowl.
I can go out on the court and I'll hold my own against almost anybody. But like you put me outside of that
of basketball,
it falls apart fairly quick.
But he's like Billy Hoyle. He shows up. He's the 5'9" white kid that shows up and plays cash games at the park. And they're like, "There's no way this kid can play."
What did you play? What did you play position wise, Mark?
I was point guard.
What did you play for football?
I played football. I was quarterback. I played baseball, and So
does that mean you're better than your nephew?
He throws the ball better than I did. He was but I was more mobile and I could throw on the run.
You also probably weren't given the freedom.
We did.
They didn't play that way.
I tell him this. I was like, we never, ever, ever in my life sent 4 receivers out in a pattern. They did it all the time.
Did you ever think that was because you were the quarterback? Or
no, I think it was because my old coach was a line coach and all he wanted to do is run the ball. But no, it is. Jeff knows a lot about basketball. Jeff knows like my basketball team is so beneficial that I got to work with Jeff because I just kept asking him.
The running joke in Montour's right now is I'm the assistant coach.
He's the assistant coach that's never been to practice.
Look, I have to co-sign that because I think Jeff would be a great football coach because he understands just like he can just watch film and dice. I've watched him do it, and you helped me. Remember, Jeff? I coached like little 5th and 6th graders.
Oh yeah.
And like we were at Rivals, and he just like drew up like 14 plays, like and just handed them to me in like 30 seconds. I think Jeff would be. He
downloaded all those.
Yeah. He did.
The thing that we talk about too, which it's like you guys seem to have a grasp on it, is we talk more about philosophy of how to deal with the kids, how to talk to the kids. What do you do when a kid's not doing well? What do you do when a kid is doing well? And just the aspect. We talk so much more about psychology and preparation and how to deal with. And one of the things that I think a lot of coaches suck at is that how to deal with failure. You're playing against teams that are pretty good, against kids that are pretty good who are trying too. And I think every time something goes wrong for like the other team scores a touchdown, you know what? They're going to score touchdowns. And the ability not to overreact and beat your kids up and like, oh my God, they scored, so we sucked. Right. Sometimes they scored because they have good players and they're trying too.
I don't know if you saw, our Lowestoft girls are pretty good at basketball again, and they played Mount Carmel, who is a state.
They won state last year.
They won the state championship.
Mount Carmel, what Verano does with Mount Carmel girls basketball is it's unparalleled. It's very, very good. And Curtis is a phenomenal coach, and we're fortunate to have him at Lowestoft. He was, obviously he was bummed about the loss. He was bummed about everything. And after we had sent back a couple of text messages, I just said to him, I was like, maybe Mount Carmel's just really good.
Yeah.
And he sent a message back and he's like, and he kind of laughed at me. He's like, yeah, they are very good. Yeah. And it's just that idea. I think sometimes we're so busy to solve things. And I'm guilty of this in all aspects of my life. My girlfriend will tell you, I try to solve things that really don't even need to be necessarily solved. If I would just put them into the context, I would realize like there wasn't a solution. Like it just something happened or something was better or something. Yeah. And I think with coaching, we fall into that. We're like, there must be a solution. There's always a solution. But sometimes when you zoom out, like the other team just shot it better. The other team executed better. The other team is just better.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about like that, side of things as far as coaching.
Well, and you're going to see that in business too. There's going to be days that say you're always busy on Fridays, and there's going to be a Friday that you're slow.
Right.
And you can go beat your head against the wall and say, why did it happen? And there's no real explanation. And then you're going to have a Wednesday at 1:00 when a party shows up that you had no idea was coming. And so like over the long term, you can get good trends. But there's going to be outliers that there's no explanation for. You can never see it coming. So that you'll see that too. That's what makes business really fun.
Opening day. What do you guys got for us? Do we have an actual definitive day?
Yeah, March 1st.
Oh, that's an easy one.
That's
March
yeah.
1st.
I think it's a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, 7 a.m.
So we'll be open 7. So our hours will be a little bit extended that day because they're gonna do like the Williamsport business commerce or whatever is gonna do like a ribbon cutting at 3.
The end of the day. So.
Okay.
So we'll be open like 7 to 5. I think we're gonna do like an
Yeah.
open house at the end of the day. So yeah, make sure you guys come too.
March 1st. You can remember
Awesome.
that.
I
March
can
1st.
remember March
Mhm.
1st. That's
Look
an
at you.
easy one for me.
Is that your birthday?
There's 31 days in February, right? So how many days away are we?
He is like 34 years old. He had no
I
idea
am.
which months had
I'm
31
so-
days, 30 days.
I'm so bad at doing the number of days in the months. I have no idea. February is the only one I know, and that's because it's
That's the
28.
guarantee.
He wonders why I make fun of Blossberg.
It's
wonderful.
that's the one thing I can't get. Well, listen, thank you guys for coming on. We're obviously, you can tell, I hope that we're excited for you. And not just I was excited to have you guys on, and especially nothing against you, Hannah, but especially Christian, because I knew him. But I was excited to have you guys on because, like I said, it just seems like you guys are so willing to try things, and especially I'm excited for younger coaches. I just want young blood into coaching, and I'm excited for that. So I hope the business side of this doesn't. I hope you guys keep coaching. I hope the business side of it goes well. But thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for having
Definitely,
us.
it's pretty cool. It's exciting.
I won't tell
It's
him that
crazy.
before the show, and because I knew Christian was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 10 minutes before the show, you're like, his girlfriend's coming too. I was like, why?
Yeah, here
He's
she
like,
is.
Well, I didn't know you were a coach, and I didn't know you.
Well,
But
the real story is Christian texted me and said, "Hey, my girlfriend's coming too because she's a part of it."
because
And I
she
said,
said she's coming,
"No."
my guy.
And I said, "Great, we'll throw you out."
Yes,
And I said, "Hannah will handle it."
she would.
I know
She'd kill
she
it.
would.
She'd
But
kill-
I mean, as you get back to just the young, there's so many people in life who are afraid of failure and afraid of public embarrassment. And I did a play when I was 48 years old. And the only reason I did it is because my daughter asked me to do it. And it was a show I knew really, really well. And now that I've done it, it's one of the proudest moments of my adult life because it was really hard and it was scary as hell. But now that I've done it, and I still every now and then I'll have some old lady come up to me and say, "Hey, you were George Bailey," and it's a wonderful life. And so when you're 30, you're going to look back at this, whether you franchised this and it's all over the country, or whether you've closed and moved on to something else. You're going to look back at this and be proud that you did it, no matter how it turns out. And you're going to be smarter people for having done it because you're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and not to sound like corny or cliche, but I was 23 when I applied to be a head coach, and 99% of the people I talked to were like, "There's no way you'd get that." But me, just that's one of the proudest moments and happiest moments, just me even taking the opportunity, because I never would have even been in that situation. I didn't even try, and I'm so grateful to do it. But same with her, and I don't know, just do it.
Fortune favors the bold.
Yeah.
Fortune
Really
favors
does.
the bold.
All right, we're going to sign off. You guys hang with us here for a second. Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Thank you to Weiss Markets for being our sponsor. And be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com for all of your local news. Thank you to our future sponsor, Toast'd Bagel
That's
Shop.
right.
Every day. We want breakfast.
Yeah,
Every day, except I don't like fancy stuff. I like plain,
you got it.
and
There
I do like cinnamon raisin.
Okay.
We got cinnamon. We got vegan options, whatever you want. We got
no,
it.
there,
No.
do not send anything vegan this way. We will send it back.
Thank you to Christian Diggs. Thank you to Hannah Summerson for coming on. Toast'd Bagels, Williamsport, March 1st. And thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Later.